Midnight Sun, episode 2. Today we are discussing the broad topic of God. Joining me today is Alex Fincher and Robbie Mills, returning for the second time. Like I said, you're going to see his face a lot. Now, this is a particularly interesting concept just because of how broad and vague it is and kind of how 2,000 years worth of wars have been fought over the subject, or probably more. We come at you today from a bit of a different set of perspectives. Alex, well, actually, rather than introduce now, we'll just kind of go around the table here in a minute. First thing that is very pertinent here is a solid definition of the concept of God. So there's multiple ones that we're going to be working with today. The two primary ones are going to be the classic monotheistic God, the all-knowing, all-loving, all-present, and all-powerful. Your Judeo-Christian God, or just the classic God du jour. The other definition is the pantheistic definition of God. And so that's where in monotheism God is a separate sort of entity from the universe. The pantheist viewpoint is more of the one where it's God is the universe. That's sort of the interconnectedness, the laws that hold the universe together. Very Einsteinian, Spinozian sort of notion of God here. Side notes: there is something called panentheism, which I don't know how often it's sort of misinterpreted, but panentheism is God is external, the universe is within God. We're not really going to touch on that, although we might veer in that direction. It's an interesting concept. But to get the ball rolling, we're just going to go around the table, sort of give our religious, spiritual backgrounds. Doesn't have to be too elaborate, but definitely kind of give everyone sort of an idea of where each of us are coming from for the purposes of this conversation. So, myself, I grew up all around the world. I left the States when I was 6. I came back when I was 19. I lived in Rome, where I was a stone's throw away from the Vatican. And I've lived in Malaysia, where all citizens are... It's not that citizens are Muslim by law. However, it's the official religion of Malaysia is Islam. China there's a very big prevalence of Buddhism, and actually sort of a counter movement against Christianity and Islam in China. They're not looked favorably upon. So I have really a major... I've encountered a lot of different cultures throughout the years. I've encountered a lot of just different spiritual traditions. And I've just kind of taken what I like, built on what I know to be good and right and true, and just developed myself. And I would consider myself more of a pantheist from the viewpoint of God. I would just... God sort of is the universe. I've had my experiences that have led me to that truth, I guess you could call it. So it's sort of an amalgamy. I do have a firm belief in God. It's just very abstract. I don't get into it a whole lot, but that's me. We'll shoot it over to Alex to sort of give the folks a little bit of your background, where you come from religiously and spiritually.
So the year was 1917, and I'm just kidding. I grew up in a very conservative household. Originally, we were Church of Christ, but now at this point, I would say probably non-denominational. But I'm one of those people that's like, I really don't care how people practice. I'm of the persuasion that as far as Christianity goes, I mean, there are things to take into consideration, but I don't believe any sect has everything 100% right. But because I've been to Methodist churches. I've even been to Catholic Mass. I've been to Baptist churches. I think there was even a couple charismatic ones probably lumped in there at one point or another. But yeah, no, just even to this day, still practicing Christian. I've traveled around a lot. I've been to some Muslim countries. I've been to some Buddhist countries. I spent most of my time in Russia. Saw a little bit of a mixture there, but for the most part, my angle is mainly from a monotheistic view, with the Holy Trinity of the Bible as the focal point.
So we have abstract me, still belief. We have I would call you devout. I would say you're a devout believe, like I mean, it affects your life. It makes its way into your life to where you actually take that into a consideration when you're, going through a moral dilemma or something like that. Yeah. So I would call you a devout believer. And then, Mr. Mills, if you would regale us with your spiritual history and religious past.
Okay, so this might take a little bit longer than you guys, just because I don't have a particular set of beliefs. I am in the process of expanding that, but so my mother was Catholic, and so I would till about the age of 7, I would say, I was part of the Catholic Church, which, to be honest, I don't really recall too much.
Fair enough.
I do recall...
Was it a Sunday school kind of thing?
Yeah, it was Sunday school. And I do recall seeing, children being baptized at a really young age, babies. And I've always questioned that, To me, that doesn't necessarily make sense. My mother started a cleaning company, and she started working for somebody who was part of a non-denominational church. And we veered away from... the Catholic Church, and we started going to this church. Now, there's many reasons why I ended up having some negative feelings toward just God in general. I went through a period of time where I was very against the idea.
Kind of the angry atheist?
Yeah, for sure.
I got you.
For quite a while. The church that we went to, they didn't have a building. They rented venues here and there, but they were very down our throat if we didn't show up or if we didn't contribute what they would have liked.
Monetarily, or just giving, contributing
contribution.
Sounds like it was a very legalistic kind of environment.
It was. Long story short, the church actually ended up going under for fraud. It was on the news.
Whoa.
And so they made my parents feel bad for purchasing certain things because they weren't able to give as much as they wanted to, or that they wanted us to.
Okay.
And then they really gave us a hard time when we moved. My parents bought a house, and it...
Really?
Yeah, because, we're basically leaving the church. We moved from Dallas to Fort Worth.
That sounds a little culty.
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. And then we moved to Fort Worth, joined another group. I don't know. Is it Northwest or Northeast Church of Christ? It's in this area. Really big church. Went there for a while, and it was pretty much a mega church. It was they even had their own school and stuff. But same kind of thing that was going on, and I have not been a part of a church that wasn't like that, and I think that's one of the big reasons why I was so against it. It was very culty. Yeah. And I didn't understand even what a cult was at the time,
Yeah.
But
you get a weird vibe.
Just
right?
It was strange. It was strange.
Yeah.
And my parents pulled away from the church after, continuously experiencing this kind of stuff. Then that's kind of where I spiraled into not believing at all.
I get you. You kind of left a sour taste in your mouth, and
Absolutely.
It's yeah, I get you.
When I did get baptized, I was doing Bible study leading up to getting baptized, and my issue with the Bible study, and it's probably different for everybody, but for me, the people that were doing the Bible study, it was very have faith whenever I had questions. And I posed very valid questions at a young age.
Fair enough.
So, that continued to be the answer. And so whenever I did get baptized, I didn't really know what I was doing.
How old were you when you were baptized?
I believe I was 12.
So, you were rebaptized. You had been baptized Catholic, and then you were rebaptized at 12 in this other...
Which also, didn't... it was just strange to me.
Yeah.
Two different sides of the... similar coin,
Do you, out of just personal curiosity, how did they do it? Did they have like a kiddie pool set up and they dunk you in it, or was it just a priest doing a cross of holy water over your head? I'm just curious.
It wasn't even the Orthodox thing where they just take the baby by the heel and just dunk you incessantly.
That's a good question. I was a baby, so I don't know. That's something I haven't really asked, so I wouldn't know. But whenever I was baptized again at 12, it was front of the church. They already have a big section that was meant for it.
Oh, okay.
When that happened, felt nothing. I didn't really have...
Like a lot of people talk about revelation or kind of being reborn or something in the experience of being baptized, at least at a later age.
For me, it was just motions.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I imagine you can speak to that. You were like baptized at a later date too, right? Like
I was 11
when
I got baptized. However, I had a much different experience. Then again, I understood a little bit more about my beliefs. My dad was actually kind of a guide for me in a lot of those things. If I had any questions about texts or the morals of the story, he put a lot of that in. And sometimes people we don't know, and so I did get that from time to time. Just have faith, or we really don't know the answer to that. So just really take
that's good though that they were willing to say I don't know the answer to that. I'm sorry, but
For me, it was I felt almost shameful to have these questions. That's kind of how it came off for me whenever I was working with these people. And something, I'm not going to get too into detail with this, but something happened in the church that that was a bit scarring for me personally. Well, I guess I kind of have to get into it. So
yeah, you kind of
I had some behavioral issues,
okay.
And my parents were seeking help, and we went to he was a youth, I guess, pastor. I'm not really sure how to title him, but he was part of the youth group.
Okay.
And him and his wife, my parents reached out to them, and they were working with them. What ended up happening is that my parents allowed me to go with them for a day, and that what they told my parents is that they were going to take me out to have lunch and do a few things.
Okay.
And this is kind of hard. And that they were going to have discussions with me. Well, what ended up happening is that I showed up to the house. I'm sitting in their living room, and they feed me lunch there, which they had told my parents that they were going to feed, take me somewhere, and we were going to do stuff throughout the day.
Yeah.
And as I'm eating lunch, him and his wife go into the bedroom, and I remember vividly just staring at the bedroom thinking, when are they going to come out?
Yeah.
And then it's all fuzzy. I don't remember anything.
Are you serious?
Whoa! And then, I went home. I was very confused. I didn't know what had happened. They had gave my parents a story that we had went out and did stuff, so I just went with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, till this day, I don't know. It was just very blank. And from there, I had a lot of problems. I wanted to die for a really long time.
Damn, dude.
Till this day, I deal with it, but it's very manageable for me.
Well, you kind of repress the memory of whatever it was.
Absolutely.
You just repress it so you're not it's there, but it's I don't remember it.
It was very confusing for me because I didn't know. It was very disorienting.
Well, yeah.
And then as I got older, my mom told me what they had told them, and I'm like, well, no, this is what actually happened. And so that really stemmed my anger toward...
I can totally see that. That it kind of sounds like you had a really similar case. Not insinuating anything. You said it's a repressed memory.
Know.
But all the people in the Catholic Church who had come out, and they said that a priest had messed with them or something like that. And, you got half the people that they stuck hard to their beliefs, and they were like, no, we're still Catholic, we're still da-da-da-da, we don't want to go to hell. And then you got the other people who wound up extremely angry, borderlining bitter atheists that came from the at least in the Catholic sector of the religious side.
And so I did have that,
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, and
I didn't even know that.
And for the longest time, well, I don't.
It's not something that comes up.
Rochelle's the only one that I really spoke about this, and it's hard to be like, oh, it's a terrible memory because it's not a memory at all. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Well, something's there. Like it's just, man, dude, that's fucking crazy.
And it fucked with me for years.
Oh yeah.
Then I got to a point in my 20s where I just wasn't so angry. Yeah. I started to, come into myself, really understand, who I was, and so it wasn't so difficult to deal with. And then I just got busy. I just got busy, and I didn't really get into any particular religion. And now I'm just I'm at the point where I'm curious. I don't disbelieve. I'm not atheist. I do. I it's hard to say I believe in a higher power, but I mean I feel like there is something there. Yeah. But I'm one who poses many questions. Yeah. I'm very skeptical.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean that's when coming to. Oh my god, I have something there. I think I got it. Biting my tongue for a while. When it comes to this particular subject, is like skepticism is always a good thing because this is one of those you can't prove it, you can't disprove it kind of things, empirically at least. Yeah. We're going to discuss empiricism in terms of the argument from religious experience. But I think that kind of gives a well-rounded intro to where we're all at. And now, before we get into the arguments in favor of God, we want to go first to this segment of A Monkey Could Have Done This Shit Better. This week on the Midnight Sun segment, how a monkey could have done it better. We're talking about the forest fire started by two dipshits, presumably millennials, that just had to tell the world the sex of their baby. It should be noted that the world never asked, nor did it care, at least not until 7,000 acres of forest were burned to the ground. Also, in this postmodern exaggeration of a liberal hellscape, how dare you two assume that baby's gender, what with the gender reveal party and all that. Fuck all of you. The poor little bastard hasn't even been born yet, and you're already violating its supposed rights, as well as burning down forest in its name. A name that, funny enough, hasn't been chosen yet. If I were to go for a name, I would think of something like Blaze, at least if it's a boy. But what's gender in this whole era in which we live? Pray for this poor child. Self-indulgent, inconsiderate retards for parents. Yes, I said it. The detestable R word. But it's fitting here because only a retard would think it's a good idea to set off a bunch of fireworks in the middle of a summer day in California in the dry forest. Insofar as monkeys are concerned, and doing it better, well, monkeys don't have gender reveal parties, so boom, case and point. Gender reveal parties are fucking stupid. You already get a baby shower, alright? Why do we all have to go to your shitty apartment or in the middle of the fucking woods, in the middle of summer, as was the case for these particular people, to find out if it's a boy or a girl. Your baby is at a higher risk of dying of negligence because presumably you wouldn't have been able to get the right selfie angle or something completely dumb as shit like that. Monkeys might hurl their own shit at one another, but at least they don't set forest fires, burning down homes, and ruining a bunch of lives. And that's been how a monkey could have done it better. Come back next week when we're talking about something else that's fucked up.